Praise be to Jesus. Well, hello again, everyone. Charles with you. About an hour ago, I posted a video, and at the end of it, I said that I was headed out of the house to go downtown Chicago to go to confession. Uh, but then I decided to take a look around the internet and, one last time before I left. And I came across something that is just really got my blood boiling here. So I'm just going to talk about what this is. Um, to put things in perspective, this isn't anything that is going to make the secular newscast. It's just about his homily today at a weekday mass. But it's absolutely ingenious. It's absolutely ingenious. It's right out of Satan's playbook, as far as I'm concerned. That's being my own opinion, obviously. Um, where the best defense is the offense. In other words, in sports, you keep control of the ball. You're the one who controls the ball, and this is the best defense is to, in this case, point the finger the other way. In other words, take the offense and attack. This is what the enemy always does. The enemy is always on the attack. So he gave this homily this morning, and it's based on the gospel reading of Luke 7:11 to 17. All right. So he makes 4 points here. All right. The first point is he talks about the source of Jesus's authority. The second point he makes was Jesus was meek. Okay. The third point, Jesus felt tender compassion. And the fourth point, silence and prayer, the last words. All right. So let me back over here. All right. So Pope Francis reflected on the Gospel of the day, Luke 7:11 to 17, during his homily on Tuesday at Casa Santa Marta. Now, this is what I'm going to talk about two of the points he made. The source of Jesus' authority. Now, this is what the article says. What gave Jesus authority, Pope Francis explained, was that he spent most of his time on the road, touching, embracing, listening, and looking at the people in the eye. He was near them, the Pope said. This is what gave him authority. All right. So this whole idea of where Jesus gets his authority, I mean, it seems to me Jesus gets his authority from his Father, but I suppose human beings can give you authority, whether that be rightfully deserved or not. I don't know, but it could be in some cases, in other cases not. You know. But, Jesus' authority really came from his Father because Jesus always spoke the truth. He was one with his Father. So that, Jesus' real authority comes from there and not from any human being. Um, but it's the next point that really, really got me here, which is really just really exemplifies um, what exactly he's trying to do here. All right. So this is about silence and prayer, the last words. The Pope brought up that it was also the people who yelled, "Crucify him." Jesus then compassionately remained silent because the people were deceived by the powerful, Pope Francis explained. His response was silence and prayer. Here, the shepherd chooses silence when the great accuser accuses him, through so many people. Jesus suffers offers his life and praise, Pope Francis said. Excuse me a minute. All right, so, um, it seems obvious he is saying that those of us who speak Orthodox truth are doing the devil's work. I mean, he's referred to this before in so many words. And that it causes him suffering, again, aligning himself with Jesus. He is making himself out to be a suffering servant, or the suffering servant that Isaiah spoke of as being Christ. If nothing else, he is doing this is absolutely ingenious. I mean, it truly is. I would think that the vast majority of people, if they had the opportunity to digest what he said, would agree with him that he is being unfairly persecuted and doing his best to handle it as Jesus did in the same circumstances. Now, let's put a couple of things together here, all right? So the Pope has been silent, from the dubia all the way up to so far. He hasn't said anything about the Vigano letter. Um, and he talks about us being rigid. The Pope is saying Orthodox believers are rigid, or he has said that we are rigid. And, he's inferring that we're running sort of interference with the working of the Holy Spirit, who in these times is helping Catholicism to make some fine-tuned adjustments to teaching and doctrine according to the Father's will. We are the Jews yelling, "Crucify him." We are the enemy of Jesus. We are the troublemakers threatening to divide the church. You see what he does here? He aligns himself with Christ as a suffering servant, um, and he tries to get us to, um, you know, just feel like, oh, this is terrible. Aren't these Orthodox people just, so lost and all confused, and they don't really recognize that the enemy is using them to attack the Pope. He referred to this as, this is what's going on with the bishops, that the great accuser is using the people against the bishops to reveal their sins. Um, this is just absolutely ingenious. I mean, it truly is. And I would think that if you took all the Catholics in the world and sat them down and let them digest about what he's saying here, and talking about it and whatever, I would think that 80 or 90% of people would agree with him. It's just amazing how, and so ingenious how he just turns it around. This is right out of Satan's playbook. This is exactly what he does. Is instead of getting defensive about something, all right, you take the offense and you point the finger in the other direction. You know, um, there's a comment that just popped up. Do you have maybe a sore throat? I hope it's going next. I don't see the rest of it, and I don't want to switch over. But people say something about my speech or my voice all the time. I'm trying to adjust the microphone here. I was sounding kind of tinny there for a while. And then I'm hearing a lot of scratching here. Well, I've dropped this headset several times, so, it may not, be working properly. And if not, maybe I'll go get another one. But I don't want to get off the subject here. Anyway, if you want to read exactly what he says, I would encourage you to do so, and the link will be in the description box. And I think that's all I'm going to say about this. I mean, I could, ramble on about this, and really not say anything new. So I'll let you go now, and we'll talk to you later in the day. Bye.